Hello again, SGBers, Companion Wolf here with another Smile Game Builder video. This one is another tips and tricks tutorial with the emphasis on the new update version 1.11, which was released on May 17th. If you want to know when I upload new tutorials, give this video a like and subscribe. If you're new here, thanks to all of my subscribers past, present and future. Now, I know there have been no tutorials for a few months, and I apologize for that. There were too many things going on at the same time, including too many projects, and I got overwhelmed and distracted, so took some time off. I did a live stream of the major updates on Twitch. If you want to watch that, then search for Companion Wolf on Twitch and you should find it. YouTube has been known to suspend or delete channels with links to other video sites, understandably, so I'm not going to post the direct link here. Unfortunately, I had to stop the stream suddenly because I had the onset of a very bad and sudden migraine, which in turn was the onset of a particularly bad week-long cold. So again, I apologize. Now I'm back on track and will bring you more SGB tutorials uploaded to their regular Sunday, Monday slots from now on, as well as a lot more RPG Maker stuff that I've been working on, specifically MV, and a lot of my plugins have been updated. And from now on, all of my tutorials here on YouTube will be no longer than 15 minutes each, but I will have extended versions elsewhere, replete with a Trigger the Troll mascot and other models I've made, animations and cool effects as well, just for like a little bit of emphasis that YouTube seems to have problems with. As always, I'll update the relevant information on social media, so be sure to check those regularly and follow as well to keep updated. Okay, no more preamble, let's get on with the tutorial. Now, one of the big updates in version 1.11 is being able to change your characters' names. This can be done through an event. I should change this. NPC change name, so I know what it's dealing with. Okay, in the event, it's a very simple you can put a dialogue, change your name, and then add a selection with yes and no. Actually, I'm going to do it this way because it is much easier. I might actually do it this way from now on, just so you can see like the whole of the events. You work in the same way. Anyway, so under yes, you can have a rename party, which is under the player and movement. Looks like a little figure type thing, and here it is, rename party member. And so this is what you will be presented with. You can select a character, any character that you want to rename. In this case, I just chose Scion. And as you can see, you can have up to 4 different tabs with different letters or symbols that you want to use in the name. It's particularly useful to have one, say, on number 3, you want accented characters or whatever, for like other languages other than English. You can have a minimum of 4 characters in the name and a maximum of 10. Incidentally, for some reason, this first tab is exactly the same as the second tab, all in small caps, so if you want capital letters you'll have to type that in. And these escape codes at the end are in help, and they are for control functions like inserting a space, letter, OK, and so on. You can place them anywhere you like, even placing them at the bottom rather than having them at on the right hand side as default here. Okay. Now you can place the new names in a message box with the H control function. The control functions are always with a backslash. There are two ways of doing this. The small h refers to the index number. That is the number referring to the character position in the party according to game data. 0 is always the first position, which is Sion by default. Number 1 is the second in the list, Marie, and so on. In fact, having a quick look again, you can see this would be index number 0, 1, 2, and so on. And then the large H, if you use this, you can reference any character regardless of where they are in the party. It's important to note that you must use whatever names you have in the character party of the game data for this bit to work, as anything else will just return a blank string. So, for example, if you rename Marie to Maria in the game data, you must use Maria in between these two square brackets. And then under no, you can add another display text, no problem, or whatever. And then this is what it would look like in the visual view. I do think that these should actually be recolored as they were before, even if it's just the title, because sometimes when I'm going through, especially the longer event coding, it tends to get a little bit confusing and I go a bit cross-eyed. Maybe that's something for Smileboom to consider. Just remember for the control switch here for putting the name that the small h is for numbers and the capital H is for strings. If we now play test to see this in action, do you want to change your name? Yes, we do. So we'll just add a Q. And as you can see, the results are exactly the same. Now this next little tip was requested by someone in IM regarding setting up an event where you need to fight a guardian or randomized monsters en route to somewhere, some treasure and so on. And then on your way back you don't have to fight them. I've done two routines for this, one for both directions and the other one for one direction only. Like so. Don't worry about these local switches. They are for the purposes of this tutorial only. So everyone's probably figured out how to do this already, but for the sake of completeness, this is how it can be done for both directions. The trigger is set to when make contact with player, so when the player passes over the event, a random battle ensues. And then you assign a random number between, in this case, 1 and 3, but you can have as many as you like. And then you check the variable box. If randomize is equal to 1, generate a monster, battle, place a battle with some spawning monsters. If it's equals to 2 instead, then do another one, randomize things up a bit, And it's the same way with number 3. Just spice things up. And then right at the very bottom, right before the last end branch, we reset randomize. And then this is what it looks like. Random equals 1, random equals 2, random equals 3, and then right at the very end, that's when variable box is reset. Okay, let's do a quick play test so you can see what I mean. Right, and here we go. End up having a battle. Hate when this happens. And then you can access whatever treasure you've got. And when you return, you have another random battle. Oh. Anyway, for the single direction only, as I said, this is for the purposes of this tutorial. You don't need them because you're going to have one or the other tab, the other sheet. So for single direction only, we need to set up a variable box to determine the direction the player is facing. In this case, the variable value is 3 because that's the direction for when the player comes back facing right. And so underneath its conditions, for check conditions do not apply, you can add the randomized battle routine from sheet 1. And then with this part, I've put a little bit of a tweak for some realism to the mix. Under escaped, walk 2 spaces to the right. So if the party flees from the battle, they'll walk 2 spaces to the right away from the battle scene, and thereby they can't progress any further. You also need to put the random number at the top, which is the same as before, where it's assigned 1 to 3. And then in this way it'll refresh each time. Now if you want to have the battle when you are returning from an area, like when you've collected the treasure and you've had the guardian monsters block your path and attack you, you move this entire randomized contents to right above the check conditions do not apply. And remember that you are pasting above, so the bottommost one needs to be checked like that. Whichever method you use is up to you, depending on your purpose. Sheet 1 is for an event with a more general approach to random monsters or guardians or whatever, and sheet 2 is for when you're going to or coming back from certain areas. So local switch is on like that. Let's play test it and see what I mean. Right, there you go. You get whatever treasure you have, and then on the way back, the monsters and guardians will appear. Another new feature in version 1.11 is inventory slots. This is for when you want to have a limited number of items at any given time. Now in the edit game data settings, you can see this maximum here. Unfortunately, there appears to be a bug at the moment where you can't set it to below 27. It'll throw this error. And Smilebloom is aware of this, and no doubt they'll put a a patch fix at some point. So for now, the maximum number of items the party is allowed to carry is going to be 27. So what happens if you have more items than that? We'll see in a moment. The first stop, though, is, while we're here, the Items tab, where you can see that each item also has a maximum quantity. You can set this to a minimum of 1 and obviously a maximum of 99. This means that you can also limit the number of certain items that you can carry at one time. So for example, if you wanted a revival feather, make it quite a rare item, you can set the maximum quality to 10, and that would mean that you can only have 10 feathers in the inventory at any one time. And it's the same way with the spell books, you can only have like one at a time in your inventory. Setting items in this manner is also very useful for things like key items, or using items to conjure things like map images. I'll cover that in another tutorial. It doesn't matter how many of each item you have, as that won't contribute to the maximum inventory slots. The number of items you actually have in your inventory will. So now, what happens when you run out of inventory space? Well, for this, under searchables, these chests, the items chests, they are already updated to reflect these changes. So if you have a look at it, basically you can see how it's done. The amount is assigned to a local variable, so when it's equals to 0, it'll check to see if there's at least one space left in the bag. If it is, then add the item. And then provided that the maximum number of allowable items isn't surpassed, the local sheet, it'll go through, and then the local sheet 2 will activate to state that the chest is empty. If the amount is exceeded, then you have to put an item back, or empty your inventory. And this way it makes you more careful of what you are carrying. Because if you're like me, you just basically collect everything, and realistically in a backpack you're not going to be able to carry 999 items in it, not even if it's shared across the party, because that would kind of like lumber you down. So this way you kind of like, it gets you thinking more carefully about what you carry. So in this chest here, I've set it up where it's contains 26 items, which brings it to just one below the maximum we set in the game data. Okay, let's do a playtest for this. Wait, we need to, I'm gonna set the start point here, and now we can playtest it. So, collect the items. And then this one. That chest is that chest is not configured properly. Okay, so you can't have more than 99 medicinal herbs. So you put it back. And I think I'll end the tutorial here. If you found it useful, give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos on Smile Game Builder and RPG Maker MV. And don't forget to visit my Twitter, Pinterest and Facebook accounts, or my official SGB website for extended tutorials that includes more content, more examples and more stuff in general. And don't forget that you can join the official Smile Game Builder Discord channel. There's now a Japanese speaking chat as well for all the latest SGB news and resources, or you can come in simply to chat. Everyone is welcome. The link to that is in the description alongside the social media links. If you want me to revisit something from a previous tutorial and bring it up to date, or you have ideas for a new tutorial, especially with this newest update version 1.11, let me know in the comments below and I'll look into it for a future one. That's it for another video in the Smile Game Builder Tutorials and Showcases series. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.